guys, welcome back to this video series of R programming. So in this video we are going to see a line graph, how we can plot a line graph using ggplot. We'll also see some different types that you can plot, so something like this. We'll try to plot the stock data, time series data, that is what is. And yeah, so we'll also learn about the reshape package and more importantly the melt and cast function, melt function and decast function, and then finally we'll see how we can actually use multiple lines in the same plot using reshape. Okay, so that's this video. Let's get started. Okay, so line graphs. So say for a very simple case, say I have a data frame. I'm creating a data frame over here with x as 1 to 3 and y as 4 to 6. Okay, that is my data frame that I'm creating. Now say I want to just plot this value 1 comma 4 2 comma 5 3 comma 6. What you do is you call the ggplot function, give it the data frame. Here's my data frame. Tell him what aesthetics do you want. So this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis, and then just tell geom line. That's it. That will plot the line for you. Also, if you want, you can increase the size. So say this is very small, I can put size is equal to 1. So this makes the size a little bigger. You can put size equal to 2. So this is more thicker. Okay, so that is also something that you can do. Now if suppose I create a data frame like this, where here if you see, I for the x I have 1 and then 3 and then 2. So 1 3 2, and then for y it is 4 5 6. So you can see, I mean, ideally you will want ordered, I mean the sorted values of x, because so a graph like 1, let me just zoom out. Okay, so say the first point is over here, you don't want the second point to be over here and then third point over here, right? I mean, that is a very weird graph. So x is always sorted. So you want 1 comma 4, that is over here, 1 comma 4, and then you'll actually plot 2 comma 6, that is here, and then you'll plot 3 comma 5, right? That is here. So that is a real graph. You cannot have this and then this and then this. So even if you don't have sorted values in the x, geom line will actually sort that for you. So no matter how these variables are, so say you have a 0 over here and say this goes to 7, still it will sort the values. So it starts from 0 comma 7 and then it go further. Okay, so that was one thing. Then you can actually change a lot of things. Say you can say color is equal to blue, you can say color is equal to green, you can have size, different sizes that I just explained. You can also have alpha. So alpha is the opacity, how much do you want to see the graph. So if I have a low value, you see it's very light, but if you have a very high value, it becomes opaque. Okay, so you can also control the opacity of the graph like this. And then there are line types. So you want a dotted line, a solid line, what kind of dotted line. You can explore these different line types as well. Okay, now if suppose you are dealing with a stock data, so here so I have this Google stocks data that I downloaded from Yahoo, I'll put the link in the description below from where you can also download this particular data set. So if you have a data set that has date, so here if you see Google stock data, it has date column, open, high, low, close, add close, and volume. Okay, so if you are dealing with date in your data frame, it is good to install this particular package, that's anytime. I have already installed it, so I won't run it again. But so anytime library has this function, any date. So notice that this was earlier character, but as soon as you convert that to any date, you get the date data type. So here R does not actually know that this is a date, it just stores it as a character. But here now R knows that this is a date variable. So this becomes handy, because when you want to plot it, so if you want to plot it like this, you will need the date variable. So on the x-axis, so this is again ggplot aesthetics, you see on the x-axis there is date. Okay, now suppose just for fun, so now this date is actually character, and if I try to plot this, see it gives you an error, invalid input, date trans works with object of class date only. Okay, so this will not work with characters, so hence you will have to do this. You have to change the data type, because you cannot have characters on the x-axis, right? Now this is uh, actually a lot of values, so actually this will be finite discrete data type in some sense, because you cannot have a half date over here. So this is not continuous but a finite discrete data type. So if you are not sure about what I'm speaking now about data types or types of data, numerical data type, categorical, and so on, I'll link the video over here, so you can click that and understand the different data types in R. Not the different data types, but the types of data, discrete data, continuous data, and so on. Okay, so it's important to convert this to any date, and then it will work. Okay, also if you see here, I've put a lot of things. You can change the size, you can have a color. So the geom line, this particular thing plots the line for you with this size and this color. Then you can also scale the X date. So say you want to see only data till February. So this will just show you Jan to Jan 29, that is only 1 month Jan. So I am showing data from 1st Jan to, so this is February, so this is 2nd February. Okay, so this is month, this is day, month, and year. Okay, so like this you can actually limit the x-axis as well. And then here I have done smooth to give you this just go back. Yeah, so this will also smooth the function for you, or the graph for you. So a lot of times people who work in stock market require these kinds of graph to understand uh, when to when to buy a particular stock and so on. So this is just a smoothing the function, and this is the standard deviation of the function at that particular point. Okay, so yeah, so here suppose the variation is low, so here this width is low, but say here the variation is high, so you can see the width over here is high. Okay, yeah. So then so normally the people who invest in stock actually want to understand what is the stock with respect to a particular day. So say I buy the stocks from here, so from this date, what how much high did the stocks go, and how much low did they go. So they want it relative to a particular day and not the actual value, because if I invest something over here, I just want to see how much will I gain at this particular day, right? I mean, the actual value of stocks does not matter. What matters is the difference between if I invested over here, if I sell over here, how much will I gain, or if I sell over here, how much will I lose, right? So for that, what you need to do is you need to make this 0, and then with respect to this, you see how much the stock is varying. So if I invested something over here, if I sell it over here, so there's a 0.1 increase of the value of the stocks, right? So how do you do this? It's simple. You just first declare what is your starting point. So say my starting point is the first day, so that is the first value over here. So say this is my starting point. Okay, so that is, so I've just put that into a start price, and then what I do is I use the pipe operator over here. So from the Google dataset, so if you see, this is my Google dataset. So give the Google dataset to mutate. So if you remember, mutate is a dplr function. So give it to mutate, and then what do you want to mutate? So I want to add a new percentage column, which is nothing but add close, which is this column, that is the rate at that particular, the closing rate at that particular day, add close minus start price divided by start price. So this is nothing but the percentage change of a particular add close value with respect to the first value. And then this is the percentage that I have created. Let's put this output to ggplot. So if you remember the pipe operator, the first argument is actually comes from the pipe. Okay, so this is the first argument, that is the Google dataset mutated by percentage, and then that goes into over here. And then what I say is I want to plot date and percentage that I calculated over here, and then plus whatever you want. So I want a line graph, and I also want to smooth. You can also set the size and color, and there it is. You get your beautiful graph. So this is mostly what the stock, so the one who sells or buys stocks is interested in. Okay, then okay. So now suppose you want to add two stocks. So there is one stock like this. So I want to add a Google stock and an IBM stock. So how will I do this? So for that, let us take a small detour to the Reshape package. So if you don't have the Reshape2 package, you can install it by this command. Load the Reshape2 package. Now load the two datasets that you have. So I have the IBM dataset over here. I've already read the Google dataset. So I have the Google dataset over here, the Google stock dataset, and the IBM stock dataset over here. So this is how the IBM stocks look like. And what I'll do is I'll make a new data frame that has the add close value. So the first column is date, the second column is add close of Google, and the third column is add close of IBM. Google, IBM. This is how it looks like. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, so if you see, this is one column, this is the another column. What you can do is you can use the Reshape package. From the Reshape package, you can use the melt function. So the melt will actually convert this particular form of data to this data, where you have a variable and a value. Okay, and what it does is it puts all the Google together, and in the same line, so there's variable, so Google, so for this particular date, for 2018 2nd January, Google was this much. And then what will happen is you will also, after this is complete, so after you get all the Google values over here, the date will restart and then give values for IBM. Okay, so in some sense what is happening is you get all the Google values first and then the IBM values below. Okay, over here you need to tell what is unique. So ID wares will tell you what is the ID. So the date is actually unique. Okay, so actually when you go from this form of data to this form of data, you'll see that initially the date was uh, unique. So for this date I had this Google value and this IBM value, but when you go here you'll have the same date twice, because this date will be for Google and then the same date will come for IBM as well. Okay, so yeah, so also you can see this has become 500. Initially it was 250. Okay, yeah, so you see it is 250 cross 3. This has become 500 cross 3. So all the Google data first and then the IBM data. Why am I doing this? I'll just tell you in a minute. Okay, just hold your horses. And so this is the melt function. So also this is known to convert. So this data set is called the wide data set because it has a lot of columns. So wide data set, and this is known as the long data set. So from the wide data set, if you actually melt, okay, so when you melt, because there is gravity below, I mean in the real case if you melt a particular thing, because of gravity it falls down and it turns into a long form. So that is the reason why this function is known as melt. Okay, so yeah, so this is what happens, and once you have this, what you can do is with ggplot, you can say this new data set IBM Google, that's my data set. And then in the data set what you do is X is date, Y is value, so Y is nothing but this value over here, value. And then I want to group a particular variable. So here this is variable and I want to group, I want Google together and IBM together. So you group and then change the color according to the group, and then a line size. Oh, I did not actually. uh, Yep, and you get the graph. Okay, so there is Google over here and IBM over here. Okay, so that is how you can actually plot two graphs on uh, the same plot. You'll have to use the reshape and then add all the things together in the same line or in the same column, and then use group to group them differently. Okay, now if you want to come back, I mean, so this was the long form when you melted the particular data set. If you want to come back to the original data set, you use tcast and you say which was your ID. So your date was your ID, and variable is what you want to change, right? So date is your ID, tilde variable. If you do this, you get your original 250 cross 3 data set back. So that is about reshape. I'll make a new video for reshape particularly, but because I just needed it here, I just gave a brief summary about it. Okay, so that was this, but again, I mean, so this is not very useful for the people who invest in stocks. So they want to see what happens when uh, how is the stock price varying from the first day when they invested in it. So they want to see the percentage change, that's all. So you can also do this. So take the percentage change of IBM, percentage change of Google, and then use the formula to get the percentage change, put them into a data frame, So here I have defined a new data frame which has percentage change. So the first value is 0 and all others are with respect to the first value. So like this you get a column like this, and what you do is uh, you use melt and then plot both of these on ggplot. So this is what mostly stock people are interested in. So if I buy, suppose, both IBM and Google stocks over here, and I sell them in January the next year, so this is January 2018, I buy them and then say I sell them in January 2019, what I'll see is that I made a loss for both the stocks, and the IBM stock is a greater loss. Okay, so yeah, so this is very helpful. So you understand if you buy something over here, when you sell, how much money did you make or how much did you lose. If I would have sold it over here at this particular point, so my Google stocks would have been a profit, but then my IBM stocks would have been a loss. Okay, so yeah, so this is a very important for stock people. I mean, you can use these for other data sets as well, but I just gave an example for stocks because it was easy to visualize and understand. So that's all for this video. I hope you understood. If you have any doubts, you can put them in the comments below and I will be happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.